Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're tackling a topic that is honestly going to be a total game changer for a very specific, often completely overlooked group of people. If you're left-handed, well, you already know the struggle to find the perfect writing tool is incredibly real. We're going to dive right into the science of finding the absolute perfect pen for left-handed writers. And we're laser focusing on two massive goals here: eliminating that awful ink smudge once and for all, and finally saying goodbye to chronic hand fatigue. Get ready, because we're about to totally transform your everyday writing experience.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, we'll be breaking down the classic left-handed writing struggle, how to stop the smear by choosing the right ink types, the way ergonomic grips prevent hand fatigue, and finally, some of the very top pen models specifically made for lefties.
Starting us off with Section 1, the left-handed writing struggle.
Let me ask you something that's probably a bit too relatable. Are you just completely fed up with the dreaded lefty ink smear and those chronic hand cramps? You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It's that classic lefty struggle where you finish a great page of notes only to look down and realize the entire side of your palm is just covered in ink. Some folks call it Silver Surfer syndrome, which is funny, but honestly, it's a huge pain. And it's not just ruined documents. It's the physical toll too. Sore fingers, cramped hands, and a super tight, aching wrist.
Well, if you experience this, you are definitely not alone. Actually, 9.2% of the global population is left-handed. Think about that for a second. That is literally hundreds of millions of people fighting this exact same frustrating daily battle against, well, their own stationery. It all comes down to the simple act of writing across a page from left to right. Your hand naturally drags right over the fresh words you literally just wrote. But hey, the good news is, by understanding a little bit of pen mechanics, we can absolutely solve this for that entire 9.2%.
Moving right along to Section 2. Ink types and stopping the smear.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the chemistry of the ink itself. You basically have two main contenders. On one side, we've got ballpoint inks. These are oil-based, they're sticky, and most importantly, they dry almost instantly. Because that ink is practically dry the second it hits the paper, it acts as a fantastic defense against those palm smears as your left hand follows behind. But on the flip side, we have gel and rollerball inks. Now, these are water-based. Sure, they glide beautifully, but they are incredibly slow drying. Because that ink just kind of sits there wet on the paper longer, they are an absolute nightmare for lefties. It drastically increases your risk of smudging up the whole page.
But, ink chemistry isn't the whole story here. The delivery system matters just as much. Opting for a fine tip is literally like a rescue mission for your documents. When you choose a tip size right in that 0.5 to 0.7 millimeter sweet spot, the pen is physically laying down way less ink on the page. And less ink? That means it dries almost instantaneously. So even if you're a super fast writer dragging your hand right across the text, this huge reduction in ink volume pretty much eliminates the smudging risk. It's such a simple tweak, but it has a massive impact.
All right, Section 3, how ergonomic grips prevent hand fatigue.
And this brilliantly illustrates the physics of the problem. Lefties face this massive mechanical disadvantage. Think about it. When writing English from left to right, right-handers get to smoothly pull the pen across the page. But lefties, we have to push the pen. And pushing it naturally causes the nib to kind of dig into the paper slightly, which creates friction. To overcome that annoying friction, left-handed writers naturally compensate by gripping the pen much, much harder. It creates this literal death grip that very quickly leads to severe soreness and fatigue.
So how in the world do we combat that pushing motion? The secret actually lies right in the grip structure. First off, you really have to consciously try to relax your grip to reduce that writing pressure. But honestly, the right pen will just do this for you. Pens with triangular grips are highly recommended because they physically guide your fingers right into a much more natural, relaxed position, so your fingers aren't constantly slipping. On top of that, pens with rubberized or textured finishes stop you from over-squeezing the barrel. By literally forcing your hand into a more relaxed hold, these ergonomic designs effectively eliminate that chronic finger soreness.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, Top 10 Models for Lefties.
So, the crucial point is you really don't have to guess next time you're buying a pen. Let's look at three absolute standout options. First up, we have the Parker IM. Now, this one uses Parker's proprietary, super fast-drying Quink ballpoint ink. That means you can use way less pressure, plus it's got this wonderfully comfortable cylindrical barrel. Next is the Uniball Jetstream. Honestly, this is kind of a legendary pen in the lefty community. It uses a hybrid super ink, so it feels incredibly smooth like a gel pen, but, and here's the magic, it dries as fast as a ballpoint, all paired with a grip that's built for really long writing sessions. Finally, check out the Zebra F301. It uses an easy glide ballpoint ink to seriously cut down on that pushing friction we talked about, and it features this specialized textured grip that gives you a nice, firm, controlled hold without that dreaded over-squeezing. All three are absolutely magnificent, smear-free tools.
But before we wrap up, I do want to share this excellent quote from our source at Dayspring Pens just to ground us a bit. They say, "The best pen is the pen that you enjoy using, whether you're right or left-handed." And honestly, that is an absolutely crucial reminder. We can talk about the science of fast-drying inks and fancy ergonomic grips all day to point us in the right direction, but at the end of the day, personal preference and just pure comfort are still the real deal breakers. You just have to find the pen that feels totally right in your own hand.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Take a really good look at the pen you're currently using right now. Does it smear instantly? Does it leave your hand completely aching after just 10 minutes of taking notes? If the answer is yes, isn't it time to finally upgrade your lefty writing experience? Seriously, you do not have to settle for ink-stained palms and sore fingers anymore. Armed with everything we just covered about oil-based inks, fine tips, and ergonomic grips, you can finally write with real comfort and confidence. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy, completely smudge-free writing.